The very first killing in the history of humanity was recorded in the Quran. وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ بَنَيْ آدَمَ بِالْحَقِّ إِذْ قَرَّبَا قُرْبَانًا فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ. Remember the two sons of Adam. You see, the first murder in the history of humanity was two brothers. Not friends, not cousins, not distant relatives. Two blood brothers who share a father and a mother. قَالَ لَأَقْتُلَنَّكَ. Out of jealousy, one threatened the other with killing them. قَالَ إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. And his brother remarked, Allah only accepts from the righteous. You see, two brothers, Habil and Qabil, Abel and Cain. They both put forward a sacrificial animal for the sake of Allah. One of their sacrifices was accepted and the other was rejected by Allah. The spark of jealousy erupts in the heart of one of them, until they get to the point where Qabil threatens his brother. قَالَ لَأَقْتُلَنَّكَ. I'm coming for you. His brother says, there's no point killing me. You're not going to get acceptance through murder. But everything always begins with a spark. It begins with a gap, a feeling of sadness, a feeling of pain, a feeling of jealousy. And this spark grows and grows until it becomes a burning flame, and it takes somebody to the extent that they're willing to brandish a weapon and take somebody else out. You may ask, if the root cause of the murder that Qabil perpetrated, the two sons of Adam, the root cause was jealousy, has anything changed? Nothing has changed till today. The formation of gangs and the killings that we see, these are not random occurrences. In fact, when you look at the studies that psychologists have done and sociologists have done, and you ask, what is the cause of these stabbings and killings? Is it religion? Is it ethnicity? Is it poverty? What is the cause? It all comes down to two things. Only two things. The first is poverty. People who are struggling financially, and people who have no hope for their future. Nobody to tell them there's a better way. This is where you should be going. They turn instead to anger, they turn instead to drugs, they turn into a life of crime, because that's the best way to make quick cash. And the second thing, and this is the thing that all of us have to really take home, is having a stable home and a stable family. People who come from a stable and healthy home and a healthy family, they are not interested in stabbings or drugs or knife crime. Because they come from a place in which they are full, their cups have been filled, they have been looked after, they have been tended to, their parents have spent time with them, they have been sheltered, they have been nurtured, to the extent it's not possible for them to ever be in a situation where they would end up in a situation like this. We have a problem in our community. One of the many problems that leads to an unhealthy home is the absence of the father figure at home. And many scientists have said this is the root cause of young men getting involved in physical crime, in violence, in drugs. The absence of the father figure. Why? Is the father a criminal? No, the father is a good man. But the father thinks that his job is to put food on the table. This is what he believes. My job is to work hard, earn, put food on the table and save money for the future. So I need to do not a 9-hour shift, I need a 12, 15-hour shift because I'm struggling, I need a bit of extra money, put that food on the table. And the nurturing of the children, I'll leave that to the wife. But every child needs a man, a father to look up to. This is why Allah created male and female, they complement each other in the household. If that father takes a one-way flight to Mogadishu and doesn't come back, if that father takes a one-way flight to Karachi and doesn't come back, if that father goes 3 months, 4 months away on business trips, doesn't come back, never to be seen, never at home, this alone can cause the ending, the destruction of his children. We have to swallow this fact. Any home in which the parents are present and have a close, loving relationship with their children, they know where they come and go and they know their close friends. They don't just leave them to the internet or leave them to their companions. They're watching, they're monitoring, they're on it, they're on the ball. These households, you never see any of these things happening. because of the level of care and attention that parents give to their children. You see, when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to remove the revenge and the tribalism and the asabiyya of the early days before Islam, what was his solution? When he comes to Medina, he does only two things. These two things are the way in which he protects and builds a new community. The first thing he invests is in building the institution of the masjid, Masjid Quba. He lays the first brick with his own hands. This masjid is going to be the youth club, the community center, the university, the hospital, the hospice, the homeless accommodation, the soup kitchen. This masjid is going to be the beating heart of the community. I will use this masjid to save and transform the lives of everybody. The first thing he builds with his hands. And the second thing, آخى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بين المهاجرين والأنصار. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he created a bond of brotherhood between the migrants of Mecca and the residents of Medina. Each of you, he paired one from each group and he said, become family. These migrants from Mecca, if you leave them without family, without a home, without so strong infrastructure of a family, they will lose themselves. They will go back to their old habits. They'll go back to racism. They'll go back to tribalism. They'll go back to revenge killings. They'll go back to burying their daughters alive if they don't have a strong family to hold them and to be the calm in the storm of the world around them. Oftentimes, many people, they devalue the importance of building strong families, of teaching about parenting, teaching about marriage, of teaching about how to create a stable and happy home. They say this is not ilm with a ayn, this is ilm with an eye. It's not serious. Teach us the mutun, teach us the texts. And what will it be when the people who are studying and teaching the texts themselves have been through 4 divorces and cannot see their 5 children? What is the purpose of ilm? What is the purpose of the Quran if it does not create a stable home, if it does not create proactive parents, if it does not create stable marriages, if it does not create good sibling relationships? If that is not there, my friends, nothing that is learned from a black and white piece of paper can help somebody if they cannot create a strong, stable and fruitful home. Imagine the moment in which the revelation began. The Prophet ﷺ is standing in a cave. He hears the first revelation, اقرأ بسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. The first revelation, the Prophet ﷺ is sweating. He's terrified. He's shaking. He runs down the mountain. And where does he land? He lands in the arms of his wife Khadija radiallahu anha. He asks her, have I been possessed by a devil? Have I lost my mind? I don't know what's happening, what just happened. I'm so confused. This moment, the mother Khadija saved the history of Islam. She says to him, Kalla wallahi lan yukhzika Allahu abada. Allah would never humiliate a man like you. You help the poor, you help the needy, you stand up for the weak, Allah would support you. And then he says, Zammiluni, Zammiluni. She wraps around him and in her warm embrace she holds him close. On that day, if the Prophet ﷺ came running home and Khadija was at work, Khadija was too busy, Khadija did not have the headspace, Khadija radiallahu anha was nowhere to be seen, the members of the household were split up, the siblings were out of the house. If he came home to an empty house without the warm embrace, without the love and care, without the refuge in the storm, where would the Prophet ﷺ be without Khadija? If the Prophet needed Khadija and the warm embrace, the loving embrace of this woman who is the mother of an ummah, you and me, you tell me, if that young boy on mosque side, if he had that warm loving embrace, if he had that stable household, if his parents knew where he was and where he was going and who his friends are and what he got up to in the evening, if he had a youth club to go to in the masjid, if he had relatable teachers to relate to, muallims in the masjid, if he had friends who were righteous friends his parents had introduced him to, would he be in that situation? the one brandishing the knife and the one receiving the wound, are both victims of the same phenomenon of the broken household. Alhamdulillah ala in'amih wa shukru lahu li tafaddulihi wa imtinanih. Subhanallah walhamdulillah ta'ziman li sha'nih. Wa salli Allahumma wa sallim wa barik ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathiran ila yawmiddin. What are the practical things we can do to prevent and reduce stabbings and knife crime in our part of Manchester? Number one, fathers, please reduce your working hours. If you are working 12-hour shifts, work 9-hour shifts. If you are working a particular job, find another way. Find a way to spend more time with your children and with your families. Do not just be an authority figure in the house who comes home to the hot food and goes to bed. Be that figure who knows the names of your children's friends, who picks and drops them, who watches where they go, who has a plan. I would like my children to be involved in A, B, C, and D, and I will take them and drop them and be with them. I will be with them and their companion on this journey. This environment of the United Kingdom requires a different parenting approach to the parenting that we inherited from wherever we came from. We have to adapt ourselves. They need more time from us, more energy, more love, more care, more direction, more guidance, more friendship. And Allah will reward you for every second that you miss. You know, in this masjid, I used to teach a weekly class, the names of Allah and His attributes. Many of you will remember. And in the front row of the masjid, there was always two boys, the brightest boys that I have met. They would answer every question, they would be on time, they would be first in line. And I always wondered, what secret do their parents do to make these boys the way they are? And one day I asked their father. Their father was not some genius, their father was not royalty, their father was not Shaykh al-Islam. He was a simple man who drove a taxi. I said, "Uncle, tell me the secret to raise these kids, because I want to raise my kids the same way." He said, "It's very simple. I drop them to school at 9, I drive my taxi until 3, and I put up my keys and I spend 3 p.m. onwards with my boys. I play football with them. I go to the masjid with them. I spend time with them. If they want to watch TV, I'm sat next to them. I am their companion where they go. Where can they go without me? They do not leave my eyes for 2 minutes. I'm there by their side. Maybe my income is less. Maybe my savings are less. Maybe I can't build a mansion back home. But I'm investing my time in these boys because they will come an age when they will move on and they will forget about me." The first advice is to the fathers. We need to be more present with our families. It could make or break the family. The second, the same advice goes for the mothers. As much as we can, we have to invest in the home. If the marriage is unstable, you can be 100% sure the children will look for happiness and satisfaction and family somewhere else. They don't find it in the home, they'll look for it in a gang. If the marriage between mother and father is not stable, arguments and fights and issues, and we're not looking for a solution and for mediation and for help in our marriages, we have to learn marriage and parenting from the Prophet's guidance. Nobody learns it from birth. If we don't fix these issues, we will only see more and more statistics of the sons and daughters of our community involved in such issues. Number one, mothers, fathers, parents, marriages, we need to work on improving these actively. Number two, this masjid has a youth club every Friday. Neither the victim nor the perpetrator of the stabbing were people who came to this youth club. We need young men and women to volunteer as da'wah leaders who are going to pick the boys and girls off the street one by one and bring them to the masjid. Young men and women who can learn the art of charisma, the art of influence, who can go and penetrate the circles of these gangs, and who can save these people from certain death by offering them a better alternative. Offering them, if you don't have a home, if you don't have a warm family, we will create one in the masjid. This is the place where you will find your belonging. We have to create an alternative institution. We have no alternative now. Zero alternatives except to make the masjid a welcoming place for young people and for volunteers to step up and step forward to save these young people from death and destruction of their lives.